Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of our Pokemon Yellow episodic Nuzlocke. We've just captured a brand new team member, Sunny the Bellsprout. And right now we're going to be doing a little bit of a training montage, getting her up to our level. As we discussed last time, her personality is a bit of a dramatic, kind of jealous, anxious kind of ball of stress. So I wonder how she's going to be integrating with the rest of the team. Not a replacement for Chrysalis by any means, but as for now, we're going to roll the title card and I'll talk to you guys after. The Queen's Gambit. So we resume our episode with a bit of a training montage. Sunny is only level 12, but she is a grass type, and we have a water type gym specialist in Misty, so we definitely want to be getting the level ups as best we can. And basically, Sunny's whole personality, and I suppose the issue she had in the last episode, was that a bunch of Oddish were making fun of her and her want to dance, but you know, the Oddishes are kind of like, you don't dance the same as we do and you don't look the same as we do, so tough. So Oddish does really enjoy, and when, like, you know, just visually speaking, whenever she vine whips, it's kind of like an elaborate like spin and pirouette, kind of like a ballet dancer, but with like a whip of viney death. And I suppose we're just doing a little bit of training here, getting through some leveling up, because ultimately it's part of the RPG experience. But last episode as well, Roxas got confronted by Team Rocket yet again. They'd actually like manned a series of trainers to kind of fight him up along the Golden Bridge to Bill's house. And Sunny got a level up there, learned a new move, really good. And as I say, in terms of stats, being a special attacker with grass moves, she actually is quite powerful, especially against fighting types that mightn't have a high special stat, because special in this game matches special attack and special defense together. And what is good about Sunny as opposed to Oddish is that Sunny actually has the growth ability, which increases their special by one stage, which obviously is like, I suppose, a modern gen equivalent of Calm Mind, because it's actually boosting special attack and special defense together. And as I say, after a little bit of grinding, we get a good few levels, and once we're up against Sandshrews, they're actually the best opponents because it's super effective, and we get a good amount of experience there. And after all of that, we're going to basically, Roxas perseveres to go and find out who Bill is and if he is able to give him any more guidance on rarer Pokemon to be able to be found. But as we know from last episode, all of these different trainers were actually working under Team Rocket, and Roxas was nearly bribed with a nugget to hand over the Helix fossil. And so maybe Bill might actually know something about these ancient Pokemon, since he is a Pokemon researcher. And for our Nuzlocke rules, I just wanted to highlight that the encounter we got of Bellsprout was on 24, and we're actually on a brand new route of 25, so the route to Bill's house counts as a brand new encounter. And I suppose, just for an explanation on my rule set, this is an episodic Nuzlocke. We want to try and have every episode of the series feel like an episode of an anime with like overarching character arcs and things like that. And so I will use gift Pokemon. That's how we have Magikarp on the team. But in terms of regular Nuzlocke rules, it's obviously one encounter per route. And here we have Oddish. So you can imagine Sunny finds another Oddish and just goes into a very annoyed frenzy. She just starts to get really upset, and this Oddish is kind of just pretty chill, just relaxing, and Bellsprout just sprays it with poison powder. Does nothing, of course, because Oddish is also a grass and poison type. So it kind of just hops up and kind of runs around Bellsprout. But again, Bellsprout is in no mood to entertain an Oddish that just obviously finished insulting it last episode. So there's still some issues there. So that's one of the things with the episodic Nuzlocke. I want each of the Pokemon to feel like characters themselves. And so that's one of the reasons why we have Huntress. She wants to be the best flying type, and so she got jealous of Zubat and Spearow, our other encounters, so I wasn't able to put them in the party just because we had Huntress and there was that kind of rivalry going on. As I say, we had Caterpie once upon a time, but then there came this big drama and big kind of, situation with Caterpie becoming a flying type in Butterfree. But we caught Oddish, and the Pokedex says the following about our new capture.
Oddish, the weed Pokemon. It may be mistaken for a clump of weeds. If you try to yank it out of the ground, it shrieks horribly.
So Roxas decides on calling the new addition to the team Oddball, and since we have up to 6 Pokemon, the Pokeball vanishes out of his hand and is transported to the PC system. The hiker calls to Roxas and says, "Nice capture. You know that I just came down from Mount Moon, full of Zubats there, but I'm really glad to be out in the fresh air. Do you want to fight?" Roxas, nearly feeling paranoid, wonders if this man too is working for Team Rocket, so he's not going to lose. Out comes Machop, a strong-looking fighting-type Pokemon. Roxas considers, but worries that Sunny's frail defenses might be too weak. Princess leaps forward, hoping to prove its prowess with its fighting moves. Given the Princess has a high defense stat, she takes a Karate Chop really well, and fires back with a flurry of kicks. Nice little Nidoran. You see, it's really interesting how different types of Pokemon can learn different moves from different types. Gives you a nice amount of variety. But they're not as good as regular fighting types. And with a critical Karate Chop, Princess is sent reeling back, but undeterred, she pursues forward and takes out the Machop in a flurry of kicks again. Out comes Geodude, a rock type. But knowing that Sandshrews were weak to Sunny, he sends Sunny out again. The hiker laughs. Well, unfortunately, even if Pokemon can learn different types of move, their types are really what are going to make you win or lose. On defeating the hiker, Princess glowed with power, and suddenly Roxas noticed she wasn't stopping the evolution this time. Stunned, he saw her become something else. Princess then began nuzzling at Roxas, clawing gently at the bag. Reaching for his Pokedex, it said,
Nidorina, the poison pin Pokemon. When resting deep in its burrow, its thorns always retract. This is proof that it is relaxed.
And suddenly, a rock from Mount Moon that Roxas had picked up jostled out of the bag, sat before Nidorina. And suddenly, the rays of sun hitting the moon rock caused a further evolution in Princess. Stunned, Roxas couldn't really understand it. Princess had stopped evolution, being stunned at Prince's appearance and not wanting to evolve. Scanning again this new Pokemon before him, Dexter said the following.
Nidoqueen, the drill Pokemon. Tough scales cover the sturdy body of this Pokemon. It appears that the scales grow in cycles.
Roxas thought for a moment, but the look in Princess's eyes was clear. She wants to be strong enough to protect those that mattered to her. Maybe if she had been stronger the last time, the Rattata wouldn't have got Butterfree. She wasn't going to be a liability again. Another hiker walks further down the road saying, "Well, if you managed to beat him, how about you give me a go, kid?" Sending out a fearsome Onyx, much more powerful than Brock's in Pewter City. He sends out Sunny, the small flower and the towering snake. You know, I know the story of David and Goliath, kid, but this is a bit ridiculous. Roxas smirks, sizes and everything, and with a flurry of powerful whips and dances, in one fell swoop, Sunny takes down the towering snake with one blow. The hiker, humbled, says, "Well, size definitely isn't everything, I suppose. Type matchups are, though." Roxas couldn't believe it. This new addition to the team, Sunny, has proven a powerful ally indeed. And now with Princess being at a third stage of evolution, evolving not only once but twice, he couldn't imagine the power that she had. Another youngster wanders down, seeing the defeat of two of the hikers. He wants to have a go himself. So just a reminder to like episode 1 way back in my first ever YouTube video at all. One of the things I did with our character of Roxas was to give him some flaws, and they would kind of influence how the game would be played in terms of the episodic style. So Roxas is hydrophobic, so he has a fear of water types. This goes back to a story reason, because his father actually drowned off the coast of Pallet, and from then he'd always had a fear of the water. So because of that, I actually can't fish or get surf encounters. I cannot capture a water type in this game. That is one of the reasons why Splishy the Magikarp, being a gift Pokemon, became an important linchpin going forward. And it's one of the reasons why, unlike maybe hardcore Nuzlocke, I'm not going to disallow gift Pokemon. So just a bit of information on that. Another quality Roxas had from the very beginning is the competitive nature, which is where if there are any trainers, I'm going to have to fight any and all trainers. I can't kind of skip trainers and kind of get by them unscathed, which means like that, if I want to get to Bill, I'm going to have to face everybody along the way. But getting back to the battle here against a Slowpoke, the youngster mentioned his father bringing him to the SS Anne. And it's here where Roxas is humbled greatly. The psychic type that his Butterfree was able to use is actually the secondary type of this Slowpoke. So with Bellsprout and similarly Prince being poison types, even though Roxas saw water type Slowpoke, grand, I'll send out Sunny against this. The fact that Sunny is weak to psychic moves was just a poor decision on his part, and then in a moment of panic, Prince jumped out in protection of Sunny. But ultimately it was the smartest play to send Peekaboo in, and using its electrical powers took out the Slowpoke. As Roxas keeps on pushing forward, he can't help but wonder, will Bill be able to tell him anything about the fossil Pokemon? Will this Helix fossil be some sort of lightning rod for trouble? He doesn't know, but all he can think is to help get a variety of different Pokemon, a variety of different types, so that he'll have something for everything. And looking to his team, with 3 of them being poison type, Nidoqueen now gaining the ground typing, upon evolution, so there's even more diversity there. We have a flying, we have a ground, we have a water, we have a grass, we have poison, and electric. And who knows what other encounters we're going to get further along in this Nuzlocke. But a little reminder and roll call of the different Pokemon and their personality quirks. Pikachu's just really friendly. It likes making new alliances, so it's pretty much going to be in the party and have kind of no beef with anybody. Huntress wants to be the best flying type around, so in general, if we end up against flying types in maybe important fights and such, I'm going to have to send Huntress in to do a flying v flying situation. I'll admit that sometimes I forget and I just send out Peekaboo, but definitely going forward we're going to track the different flying types that Huntress has beaten throughout this series, and hopefully towards the end we can have some pretty epic fights with some powerful flying types like Fearow and Dodrio and things. And once again, the reputation of Bill only precedes him. Many different people here travelling up the Cape to see his cottage and to learn from him and his wisdom. Sunny, now nearly on par with the rest of the team, really, ends up using growth to help its vines grow longer and longer as she prepares for a dance macabre. With 3 growths and just radiating sun's energy and just absorbing, standing still and just gaining more and more power from photosynthesis. Lash, and the boulder Geodude is chipped and slashed almost in an instant. And then the same happens with the next Pokemon. The 2 Geodudes fall, and out comes Machop, but Sunny doesn't even waver. A lashing of vines, and the Machop is nearly taken out. A critical hit when Sunny closes in. Growing to level 18, its battle prowess really shining. Sunny has the ability now to learn Sleep Powder, so we're going to swap that out for Poison Powder. We are definitely keeping growth. 100% we're keeping growth. Vine Whip is great, but I think a different move wouldn't be too bad. Wouldn't say no to a new move, a new grass move, but Vine Whip is doing work and we're not going to give out about it. Roxas steps forward for another challenge, opening the way to Treasure Behind. We're going to face off against this junior trainer. Rattata, though, the one Pokemon that took out Butterfree, they've kind of become the terror of this Nuzlocke run so far. But luckily now, with Princess being a Nidoqueen, she is going to be an absolute defensive wall with just her higher HP and higher stats in defense overall. She'll be able to tank a lot of stuff. So we are very lucky to have her. And Roxas kind of has this competitive nature because being one of the only kids in Palette and, you know, Sora being so, I suppose, jealous and hyper competitive themselves, they just both brought out that trait in each other. Nidorino always wants to be the highest leveled Pokemon in our group. That's his kind of personality trait. Nidoqueen wanted to be kind of the cute but deadly type, but after the death of Butterfree, that's kind of augmented to becoming the kind of mama bear of the group. She wants to be the protector and kind of the wall that like no one's going to breach. Splishy, the Magikarp, again with his hydrophobia, he didn't actually want to capture a water type, but Splishy just had such a joyful, like joyous spirit, and yet he was kept in this really like dilapidated filthy fish tank and being sold by a trainer that didn't want him. So this kind of helped acquiesce his fears of water Pokemon, since Splishy is just so happy-go-lucky, so playful, and he doesn't have any dangerous water moves, and all he kind of does is splish and splash and hop around. So we haven't really seen much of Splishy this episode, but I mean, going forward, he is definitely still part of the team and a valued member. And as I say, the more experience he kind of gets from traveling around with the gang, he'll definitely see more screen time and more developments. I'm sure you can all imagine what's going to happen when he hits a certain level threshold. And then with our newest member, Sunny, she's kind of a powerful Pokemon, but a kind of very jealous and, I suppose, insecure type. Wants to be kind of this elegant, graceful dancer type, but obviously the other grass types have been very, very mean to her, and so I suppose it's kind of a sad fury that she kind of fights with. It's this deep feeling of being less than, but wanting to be strong, and I suppose in that aggression to prove themselves, they're proving quite a strong asset, you know? But yeah, I've been really enjoying, like, I remember before kind of even starting into Final Fantasy X, this was always my kind of go-to series. This is my very, very first video game ever, and I kind of wanted to bring a different aspect to it. Like, I wanted to kind of capture that anime feeling, that kind of tuning into new episodes and getting new developments, and for the Pokemon to be characters in the story and not just, I suppose, pixels in a team, you know? So Bellsprout, seeing another Oddish, is just brought to tears and runs back to the Pokeball. So Princess now wagers to defend its new friend's honor and not let it get upset. As is the case with Gen 1, unfortunately the movesets are kind of not the very best. I mean, it's the smallest move pool in general because, it's the first generation. But yeah, it's going to be a little while of just trying to get really good moves on our Pokemon, because, I mean, we're still using Scratch as one of our better options. Scratch and double kick, like, so it's not ideal. But this last basically is kind of standing by the kind of pier. There's like a lake up at the top of this mountain, like Rox has been ascending vertically as we went. And this last just kind of says that she likes to go here just to get away from it all, just sit by the pond with her grass types and just take in the fresh mountain air. Maybe you should just go and relax with your Pokemon. You seem like you've definitely had a fair few battles yourself. Roxas demonstrates that Princess is still the critical hit queen that she is, just graceful as ever despite her near doubling in size. Before going in to meet Bill, Roxas throws Magikarp into the river and chills out for the day. And that's going to be our episode, guys. Thanks for watching.